I mean, as a team, we always say that we apply pressure, we don't feel it. We apply that shit. That's us. We want everybody to feel the pressure. We don't feel it. It doesn't matter. We're down 8 runs. There's no pressure on us. We're down 8 runs. All we got to do is play our game. We're back in it. So we don't feel it. We apply it.
If you could have a baby between Iron Man and Spider-Man, it would be Jackson Merrill. Does that make sense?
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure what time you're going to be watching this. We are always available to you, of course, on YouTube and on demand. But man, it's exciting. It's Monday, and the San Diego Padres that we thought we knew we were getting come opening day are finally back at Petco Park after a very long, rainy and eventful road trip. I'm delighted to be brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place, and it's great to see our friend Jake Garegnani back from this road trip. I know you started out in Boston. I had you an assignment to ask questions about Xander Bogaerts. That feels like a lifetime ago. You went to New York, and also you and CBS. You had the pre and the post game show for CBS because the Padres and the Rockies were on regular TV on Saturday. Jake, how are you?
Well, what a game we picked, for CBS 8, 21
Yes.
to nothing. That was, we got a good one. I was feeling bad because I think the last time we talked, Marty, I said, we're 0-1 on CBS 8. They lost to the Rays the first game we had. That's a way to make up for it right there by setting just about 1 billion records in Padres history and scoring 21 runs. I'm doing really well. Thank you. It's been a whirlwind of a trip. It's been fun to follow this team on their road trip. And yeah, man, I feel like the 21 to nothing victory would have been super sweet had they finished the sweep, but we'll take it nonetheless. And just a phenomenal game that we got to cover, at least, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know. What is it like, first and foremost? And the line of question I can start with you could be we could range anywhere because you had so many guys that came back on this road trip, right? Jackson Merrill was back, which is exciting. Jackson Merrill hasn't skipped a single beat. Jake Cronenworth is back. Jason Hayward hit a nice home run. I mean, just an offensive outburst. But what is it like to cover a 21 to nothing game? And let me preface, at Coors Field, at what point does it feel safe? Because I know the previous night you're like, oh, this is going to be a blowout. And then the Rockies made it very, very close. They had to go ahead and use Robert Suarez in that game. What is it like to cover a game like that where the Padres can seemingly impose their will on their opponent?
What was funny is for the first 3 innings, it felt like Mexico City. And I know you were down there where the ball was everything was just leaving the ballpark, right? Yeah. It was everything that they elevated left the ballpark. And for that game, and you're right, Coors Field is a scary place where you go, 21 doesn't feel safe. But that game, it just felt like they imposed their will, as you said, the whole way through. There was never a point where I go, oh, this is a little dicey. Oh, I'm kind of worried. They had it from the jump. And I think the funniest thing about that game, I was saying on the post-game show, you kind of lost the fact that Stephen Kolek did what he did because all these runs are being scored, all these home runs. And then you look up in the 7th and you're like, dude, I think Stephen Kolek might go the distance. He was throwing the ball so well. Everything was clicking. I got to interview Jackson Merrill post-game right after the handshake line. And, he's impossible to get him to say anything positive in a sense of
himself.
About himself.
He'll never ever. I'm sorry. It makes him uncomfortable to talk about himself and to hear praise. So
exactly, and really in general, just talking about the team. And I thought it was so funny. I go, you guys. Sorry, my alarm was going off to make sure I was on the show. In the history of San Diego Padres baseball, you just broke every record. And he goes, we got a 110 game tomorrow. I go, dude, you can't soak this in at all. You can't take it. And he goes, nope, we got a 110 game tomorrow. And I love that about him. It's what makes him so driven. It's what makes him what he is. And it's a bummer that they ended up losing that final game. But it was a wild, wild game to cover. You just kind of kept thinking that it was going to end and it didn't. 14-0, 16-0, and all of a sudden 21.
I'm glad you mentioned Stephen Kolek, and actually, we're gonna check in a little bit with Bob Scanlan, the Padres analyst, back from that long, exhausting road trip, because it's easy to focus on the offense. It's easy to focus on the players. Is Jake there? Jake Garegnani?
I'm back now. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's easy to go ahead and focus on Jackson Merrill coming back and not skipping a single beat, and what the offense was able to go ahead and do. But I think you can't overlook what Stephen Kolek did. You cannot. I mean, the 28th pitcher to go ahead and throw a shutout, a complete game, a shutout at Coors Field, which is ridiculous. And even more remarkable is a complete. That doesn't happen in baseball. That never happens in baseball anymore.
We had a stat on the postgame show. It was the first time, and I think I've got the year right, but it's at least relatively close. 1889, that a team scored 20-plus runs and had a pitcher throw a 9-inning shutout. And the last team to do it was the Cincinnati Red Stockings against who was it? It was against the Baltimore Orioles, and I think it was 1889. So that just gives you what it was, like the significance of how amazing it was. And Steven was great. It was funny in the pregame show. Ruben Niebla was walking out to the bullpen, and I kind of snagged him. I'm sure he wasn't happy with me because I know he doesn't love to do interviews, and I kind of snagged him over.
Ruben Niebla.
Yeah, I mean, at least maybe not with me. I haven't gotten him.
you should take it personally. Definitely, Jake. Take it personally.
You know me. I take everything personally. But I snagged him, and I said, Ruben, how excited are you to watch Steven? And he talked about all the qualities that Steven possesses. And then, Marty, how important it was for this team after Kyle Hart struggled, and I love Kyle, but to have that next guy step up as good as Steven has been. And yes, it's the Pirates, and yes, it's the Rockies.
Right.
By the way, really well.
Two teams the Padres faced that fired their managers in the last week. Right. And the Pirates are a miserable franchise, and so are the Rockies. I actually, during that 21-0 game on Saturday, and I'm really, really sorry if I missed you in the post because I checked out a little bit early in that game. I think I checked out when it was like 16-0, or maybe it was earlier than that, because like they're not coming back. They were not going to make that one a game. I said, I wonder if they're just going to go ahead and fire Buddy Black during this game. That's how bad it was. That's how miserable the Rockies are. So. But it doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. To do what Stephen Kolek did was really, really impressive. And I think the Padres, maybe it was Kevin Acey in the UT kind of answered that question. What does happen when they do get Darvish back? He could go on a rehab assignment this week, and he could return to this rotation in the coming weeks. Definitely by June, barring any setbacks. But I think Stephen Kolek, man, has answered some questions about his place with the Padres, and that's a great problem to have, especially the idea of a 6-man rotation.
Yep. You can never, everyone that's watched baseball knows you can never have enough starting pitching. You always need starting pitching. The Buddy Black thing was super interesting to me in a sense of, I think they had obviously made the decision in the 21-0 game that he was not going to be on the road trip, but it was just weird that they fired him like 2 minutes after a win.
I know.
But I think Buddy Black, Buddy, we all know Buddy. He's an awesome guy. He was handed an absolute impossible situation. This is not a Buddy Black issue. This is not the players on the Colorado Rockies issue. Let's call it what it is. It's a Dick Monfort issue. It's the ownership. It's a owner not putting effort into his team. I said it on their field. I felt bad because there's a lot of great people, PR staff in the Rockies organization who took great care of me. But I'm going to call it as I see it. It's the worst team I've ever seen on an MLB diamond, and it is completely directed towards the effort put in from, in my personal opinion, ownership.
The small irony of Dick Monfort, who I believe was he openly criticized Peter Seidler when he was with us and spending money in the Padres and actually, investing in his fans, investing in his team, creating an exciting product. And Dick Monfort is the exact opposite, and he deserves what he's getting. I can't even imagine what the atmosphere is at Coors Field. That used to be a great environment. It seems dead. You could hear the Padres fans. By the way, kudos to the Padres fans showing up everywhere. We know they showed up at Petco Park. I'm sure every single game this homestand, 3 with the Angels starting tonight, 3 against the Mariners, a very exciting Vetter Cup, which we can get into a little bit later on this weekend. But they showed up. You could hear them in New York. There was a lot of impressive things that happened, for me to watch with this Padres team on this last road trip. But the fact that you can hear Padres fans everywhere they go, including a place like New York City, that's a huge testament to what this organization has built. And by the way, the polar opposite of what Dick Monfort is building or just destroying in Colorado.
Yeah, it was so fun throughout the trip. It was funny. I think it was the Monday game in New York, the rainy one that they ended up coming back in. it was so rainy and it was so wild that most of the Yankee fans obviously were like, I'm going home. I'm not sitting through this delay. I'm not sitting through all this rain. So it was like me and like 400 Padre fans I felt out in the stands, and it was cool to see everywhere they showed up. There were tons of Padre fans in Colorado. I think kind of to your point about the Rockies, it's interesting to me though, like the 2 games I was at, there were like 33,000 fans. People still show up.
That's amazing.
I think it's part of the problem though, Marty. I think because the fans still show up, and it's a great fan base, and this is not the fans.
It's great sports city. Great sports city. They're Nuggets in the playoff. It really is.
Amazing. And I think it's not the fans' problem, but they continue to show up. They continue to support. So Monfort, it just says, why do I need to put money in? I'm still making money. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think it's interesting that fan base is almost too good that they continue to show up, whereas you saw in Chicago last year, there were like 7 people in the stands.
Right. All right. Real quick. I am delighted to go ahead and welcome in to the show our friend Bob Scanlan, back from this long, exhausting rain delay road trip, right? Pittsburgh, New York, Colorado. And I'll tell you this, the most impressive thing that I saw in New York during these rain delays was Bob Scanlan's hair looking absolutely immaculate through the chaos. Do you guys know what happens when it's rainy? Your hair gets kind of frizzed up. Mine's a complete disaster. I was watching with my nephew, who is 7 years old. I swear to you, huge Bob Scanlan fan. He goes, I like his suit. I like his hair. How does he do his hair? So Bob Scanlan, welcome to Marty Time TV. I want you to know that you have fans everywhere, including a 7-year-old who admired your gray suit with a lavender shirt and the absolute pristine, immaculate hair. Well done, Bob Scanlan.
Thank you, Marty. I love your nephew. He's my favorite now. I got to meet this young man. My one fan out there. He can be my agent. Thank you. But it was that was quite an experience out there, wasn't it? Watching that rain come down for as long as it was, and that they got that game in. I was actually amazed that they got a full 9 in. But that was a lot of fun. And to me, the most impressive part was what Nick Pivetta was able to do throughout that ball game. That was such a gutsy performance, wasn't it? What's that?
It was a long delay like that. I wasn't sure what he would, but he just seemed more determined than ever, right?
Yeah, exactly. And look, when you're a starting pitcher, you're so onto your routines, right? You're planning out your meals and your pregame stretch and all the things that you got to do. And then all of a sudden, hey, the game's going to get delayed by 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And it can throw a lot of guys off, on top of the fact that he was basically pitching in rain the entire time, and at times a downpour, and he didn't let that affect him. Then they stopped the game, and he's sitting there for a long time. Comes back after the 30-minute delay or whatever it ended up being, and came back and was just as nails as he was to finish out that inning. I thought that showed us a lot about Nick Pivetta and just his competitive nature. And we've seen it. We've kind of known it's there. But that was like the ultimate test as far as I'm concerned. And he passed it with flying colors. So, which is kind of the way this whole ball club is, isn't it? I mean, there's so many guys that are competitive, and they seem to really feed off each other.
No, they really do. And I'm going to ask you guys each 2 questions before I let Jake go, because I know he got in at 3:00 in the morning and he's exhausted. Then I'm going to grill Bob Scanlan about
Jake. Great to see you in Colorado, by the way. Great job, man.
It was great. I didn't realize that the hair was so on point. I'm going to have to use whatever hairspray you're using, because I don't happen to have it. And to your point, Bob, I was at that game in New York. I was stunned that Nick Pivetta came back out. I saw him warming up on the side by the dugout there, and I go, he's really going to come back out and throw this game. And it was a great performance, as you mentioned. It was a bummer he didn't throw quite as well yesterday, but what a performance it was in New York.
If I'm going to ask each of you, one word answer only, what's the one takeaway that you have on the Padres after this long, lengthy, winning road trip, by the way? What's the word going to be?
I'm going to say Schilt, and I'll elaborate, because I thought what stood out, I know you said one word, but I work in TV, Marty. I can't stop at one word. I'm going to say Schilt, because the thing that stood out to me this entire road trip was the ejection in New York, him going out there. I know we've said it a million times about how he's a player's manager. Yeah. But to see it there in person, to see him go out there, get everybody fired up, to defend Fernando and do everything he did, it to me is what stood out through this long road trip.
I love that. That's a great one, Jake, and no doubt about it. That was one of the best ejections we've seen in such a long time, right? Not only in terms of execution, because he did not get cheated. When you walk out there and you got the glasses and you're throwing them away right away, right? And you got the lineup card and you're tossing that. with precision, I might add. He threw them right on the edge of the grass so that the glasses wouldn't get scratched. But he was fully invested, totally passionate. And on top of it, it was effective, right? I mean, it did two things. First of all, to your point, Jake, got the guys fired up, and they know that Schulte's got their back. But when you display it like that, it takes it to a different level. But the other thing that happened from my perspective was Devin Williams was out there kind of struggling. Then he kind of was starting to feel it. He threw a couple of good changeups, to get the strike out of Toddy, and it iced him. So now he's standing there for 3 or 4 minutes watching this go on. He kind of loses his momentum a little bit, and then he walks the next batter. And then, of course, the Padres complete the comeback. So just execution, result, the whole thing was just an absolute 10 on Schulte's part. You're absolutely right. As far as the one word, I'm going to say committed. And I use that word because I felt like this team so often we wonder, we talk about the Petco approach, and they've got a game plan and they are so committed to it. And I felt like that was on display in every ballpark against every team, every situation that they faced. It didn't matter about the rain delays that we talked about. And there were 4 of them early on, right? In Pittsburgh and New York and everything else that was going on. It didn't matter which pitchers they were facing. There were all kinds of potential distractions, even going into Colorado, which is a place where you can easily get distracted by, we're going to hit home runs. But they stayed committed to who they are, what their approach is, and it showed. And I think that's going to pay dividends over the course of the season. We talk about that sort of commitment to the process and what their approach is. Last year, and it's interesting that they're playing the Angels right now, because really last year was sort of the apex of them committing to this process. And this is a story that I'd heard from several guys. They just got done with the Angels series last year, and as you remember, they didn't play well. But they actually out-hit the Angels, right? They had more hits. But when they walked away, they said, we got more hits, but we weren't doing the little things that we needed to do. It wasn't the right approach. We weren't moving guys over. We weren't getting the runs in. Let's get back to doing what we know we need to do to win baseball games, to score one more run than the other team. And from the rest of the season, from that point on, they did that. And we saw it all the way through the postseason. So, and they've carried it on into this year. So again, for me, I love the word Schilt. I'm gonna stick with the word commitment right now. Committed to their process.
Marty asked for 2 words, and we gave you 10 minutes.
You guys, that was
baby.
That was Bill Walton-esque. Thank you so much. I was very, very profound. This is why I bring in the professionals, because my word was very simple. I was just going to say long. This was a really, really long.
Well, it was a long month road trip. I'll say that. By the time we got back, it was like, oh my gosh, that was a long one. But it was successful, 6-3, right? You're never going to complain about that.
Never going to complain about that. Okay, I'm going to let Jake go in a second, but before I do, since I have the expertise of two guys who get their livings by being on TV. Let's talk. Let's break it down. All right. It's, as a woman, it is so hard to go ahead and simplify your routine and get ready. So I want to ask the always flawless Bob Scanlan, what's your routine? This disaster does not work for me. This also, it's okay. This, no. Bare Minerals, with the right primer. This, no, fail. Bob Scanlan,
Marty,
how do you do it? How do you get ready? What's the secret?
I love all the different hairstyles that you can successfully pull off, and you look great all the time. So you've got all the secrets over there. I'm waiting for you to start your influencer page.
Yeah, I want the secret. Let's go. Spill it, Bob Scanlan. I want to know. I've been dying to ask you all these years.
I'm not sure what this.
It's tough when you're just good looking. That's what Bob's got going for you. Know what I mean? There ain't no fixing good looking.
It's the beauty of camera and soft focused filters and everything to try to keep the reality away. So I just try to keep tricking them as long as I can and try to keep up with Jake over there. So Jake, you've got all the secrets, man. So go for it.
Bob, for a fact I showed up to that Colorado series in a $100 Amazon suit. You saw it. So I don't want to hear it, my friend.
I don't care how much it costs. You wore it well. You look great out there. So it was impressive.
When I grow up, Marty, I want to be just like Bob. That's kind of my goal. So I kid.
No, you don't.
I kid. You guys both are amazing. I'll say this about you, Marty. I don't know anyone that works harder. So you show up looking however the hell you want, because you're the biggest grinder in this industry. You know the answer to that, and that's just the truth of it.
Here. Well said.
I should end this show right now on that high note, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and grill Bob Scanlan a little bit more on this Padres team. Jake, thanks so much for joining me. It was great seeing you. Great work on CBS, and I'm so glad for all the Padres fans out there who get to watch their games normally through Padres TV, but they can also watch you on CBS on select Saturdays. So great work out there, Dylan Cease, Jackson Merrill. Saw those interviews, fantastic stuff. I will see you at Petco Park.
I appreciate it so much. And don't worry, we're not taking any TV time away from Bob Scanlan. He's still leading it and doing the post and the pre. We're just a little bit ahead and a little bit behind. So appreciate you both so much. You guys both do amazing work, and much love to you both. So take care.
Jake, love your work. It was great seeing you out there, buddy. It really was. Great job.
Back at you guys. Take care.
See you, Jake.
Thanks.
Okay, so that was Jake Garegnani. It took me, no joke, 3 years to learn how to go and pronounce his name because it's spelled Gare. I was thinking it was Jake Garegnani, and I think I completely butchered it the first time he was on the show. But hey, Bob, it's great to go ahead and see you. I want to expand a little bit more on this. I want to start with a person that we know very well, of course, and Padres fans do as well, and that would be Buddy Black, who lost his job, and it's almost like a mercy release by the Colorado Rockies yesterday. Surprising. What was your sense after that? I really thought it could happen during the 21-0 beatdown on Saturday.
I just felt so bad for Buddy, and we all know Buddy. We know what a class gentleman he is, what a great baseball man he is, what a great leader of men that he is. In fact, to that point, after that 21-0 beatdown, the next day, so it was yesterday, I'm out there early, and the Rockies pitching staff comes out there, and they start doing their pregame, stretch and playing catch and everything. And out of the dugout comes Buddy, and he goes over, and I watch him talk to every one of his pitchers that are out there, spends 2 or 3 minutes with each guy, just talking a little bit. Every now and then they talk about, you could say a little mechanical thing, but for the most part, it just talking to him. And I just thought that was such a great moment of leadership when everything is going bad and things seem to be as worse as they can possibly be. But he's not in his office worrying about himself. He is out there saying, what do I need to do as the leader of this team to try to keep my troops' morale up, to let these guys know that I care, to let these guys know that I'm in there with them. And I just thought that was a great leadership moment on his part. And, later after the ball game, they end up winning the game. He gets, relieved of his duties as you described. But to me, that moment just sort of epitomized to me who Buddy is. And, worrying about his players more than himself or what might be going on around him. And, during his time here in San Diego, there were a lot of firestorms. There were ownership changes and general manager changes and all kinds of stuff. And he sort of always felt like that beacon of stability.
Calming influence.
Yes,
very calming.
Absolutely. So to your point, I thought when he said it was sort of a mercy firing in a way, maybe in a way it is. I mean, you never want to get let go, but at the same time, you just get the sense that he deserves more than what he's been handed the last year by that organization, the front office, for whatever reasons. And Buddy is such a unique character in terms of the different things that he can provide to an organization. We know he can manage. We know that he can be a pitching coach. He's worked in front offices before. He's one of the few people in the game that could literally do just about anything that an organization would need him to do. So I have no doubt if Buddy wants to continue to be a part of baseball, and I imagine that he does, that there'll be an opportunity out there for him. And I guess the question at this point for him would just be, what does he want to do? Because he's such a talented and, knowledgeable baseball man that he can help out an organization in a lot of different ways. And I'm fortunate to see what happened, but we know this is how baseball is, right? The managers often take the brunt for what's going on with ownership and front offices and the people that are making decisions above him. But I hope that he finds a good place for himself moving forward.
If he wants to do it, I'm sure that he will. We're talking to Bob Scanlan here on Marty Time TV. Really, really quick. We have reached 17,000 subscribers on this channel. I want to thank all of you tremendous fans for watching and supporting. It means a lot. And it's, by the way, it means a lot to have Bob Scanlan, because Bob, you were my very first official guest when I launched this channel. So it is a pleasure to have you back.
Did not know that.
You were my first official one. Yes, first official guest for the Marty Time live shows. And now we're at 17,000 subscribers. We're going to keep doing hopefully good things. So thank you guys all so much. Padres, thank you. Padres return home 25-14. They're going to play the Angels and the Mariners, the Vetter Cup, which I'll get to later on, hopefully this week, with a couple of people who helped coin that phrase when the Padres and Mariners would play because, they're natural rivals and all. But they're going to be different. They have Jake Cronenworth back. They have Jackson Merrill back. How much specifically with Jackson Merrill does he change this team when he is back?
Well, I think the other name that we didn't mention right there is Luis Arias,
Luis Arias too, yes.
Having him back, I think, obviously all three of those guys, super important to this lineup for different reasons. And Jackson, I think, to your point, not only just physically what he brings and is capable of doing on the field. And I mean, who comes back from the IL and doubles down the right field line in his first at bat, and then in classic Jackson fashion, right? Base hit opposite field the next plate appearance.
Of course.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's just so par for the course for him.
It's like he never left.
Yeah, exactly. And he comes up big twice with a home run in the Pavetta game. And then also later on, he has that in the 8th inning, the go-ahead base. So this kid loves to be in the key moment. There's not every player wants to be, with the pressure of the whole game on his shoulders. He does. He wants to be there. So it's just tremendous in all that respect. But the other part of it, Marty, and you've seen it, his presence in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
For me, he's the guy that, and not every clubhouse has it. You hope that they do, but there's never a down day for Jackson Merrill. Yeah. I mean, he's like one of the first guys in the clubhouse every day. And when you walk into that clubhouse, you look at that kid and that kid is bringing it today.
Yeah.
This kid is going to give everything that he's got to win a baseball game. This guy is going to be there to give every one of his teammates a pat on the back when they need it. This is the guy that when you walk in the clubhouse and like over 162 games, there's certain days where you just roll out and be like, oh man, I'm kind of tired today, or the arm doesn't feel good, or maybe, tough day at the house with the wife and kids, whatever. And you walk in the clubhouse and you're just trying to get your thoughts together. As soon as you see Jackson, it's like, oh man, this kid is bringing it, and I better bring my A game today because I know he is for 9 innings today. And so I just love that presence about him and that intensity and that commitment to the team and to his teammates. And I think it carries over to everybody else.
He's contagious. He's one of one, and he is the definition of clutch, and he wants to be in that moment. There can be great players that can perform in different situations in their roles, but I just wonder how many players want that spotlight, want to be that guy in the moment. And he seems to, he comes up big. Nothing seems too big for him.
No, never. And that's the amazing thing. That's a great description. Nothing's too big for him. I mean, when he got asked in spring training, 2 years ago to play outfield. Okay, no problem. All right, we're going to move you to center field. Okay, no problem. Okay, you're on the opening day roster. Okay, no problem. How many times was he in the, walk-off situations and game-tying situations late in the game? It just, there was nothing, to your point, that was too big for this kid. And, all-star games, you name it, he's ready for it. It's like he was built to do this. And it's amazing to watch him on a daily basis.
Hopefully later today, we're going to get more of an update on Darvish, what the plan is for him, rehab assignment, when he can return to the Padres. But 2 pitchers I do want to ask you about. Number 1, Dylan Cease, who I think is scheduled to go tomorrow. Hopefully everything's checking out. And I thought we were going to see a no-hitter the way he was going. Just quick words, if you can, on his dominance and any concerns about the cramping.
No, it didn't seem to be a big concern that day. Okay. At no point does it sound like it was an issue. So, hopefully everything went okay with his bullpen session and he's ready to go. But to your point, when we've seen Dylan in these streaks, right, he'll go for 5 or 6 games where it could be a no-hitter. Like he just dominates. And we saw that stuff the previous outing with the slider. It showed up, right? And maybe he went to it a little bit too often. Maybe he's excited. Oh, I got the slider back. Let's use this bad boy. But on the last outing, as you may recall, established that fastball early in the game. It was just 97, 98, 99, boom, 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 coming at you. And then the nasty, filthy slider. There's nothing you can do about it. So, when Dylan's on one of those rolls, and hopefully it lasts for a while, any time we could see a no-hitter. So it should be exciting to watch.
The Padres have had some very impressive pitching performances. I realize it's the Rockies again, but how impressive was Stephen Kolek doing what's been done only 28 times at Coors Field?
Yeah, it was amazing. And there are no excuses. There's nothing for him to apologize for. You can say it's the Rockies lineup. Well, that's the same Rockies lineup that scored 9 runs the next day and gave Nick Pivetta all that he could handle, right? A guy that's been absolutely dominant. So that's a big league lineup. There's no excuses or nothing to apologize for, I should say. And on top of that, if anybody wants to say, oh, well, look at the run support he had. It's easy to pitch and, blah. No, it's not. There's a lot of guys that really get challenged when they've got a big lead like that. And what happens, the thing you have to be careful of, the trap, Marty, is what do we always say as soon as you get a big league? What's the mantra? Just throw strikes. Just throw strikes. Right. And so you go from a focus of I got to hit the mitt. I got to hit the mitt, make my pitch, hit the mitt to, oh, just throw strikes. And your focus you lose that fine-tuned focus. And you're not practicing throwing strikes. When you're out there practicing and you're doing well, it's because you're focused, concentrated on hitting a spot, hitting the mitt. So he didn't get caught in that trap of just throw strikes and protect the lead. He kept pitching. He was aggressive. He used his fastball incredibly well. He's done a great job with his off-speed pitches and his breaking pitches. And you can just see this young man has really come along. He's really developed, and he's getting down the mound better. He's able to use a slider a little bit more. Last year, in talking to Ruben, they worked on some mechanical things, and Ruben's got him coming down the hill a little bit better, which allows his arm to get out there a little bit further, which allows you to be more effective with your slider. And that was a great pitch for him yesterday, even in the thin air conditions. So Ruben, he's the man, the pitch doctor, and we've seen him help so many guys. And I think Stephen Kolek,
pitch doctor.
Yeah.
I like it. The pitch doctor.
Yeah. And Stephen was fantastic. And I refuse to accept anybody saying, oh, well, it was the Rockies or it was a big lead or any of that kind of stuff.
I will strike that question. But by the way, if you're Stephen Kolek, right, and there's bigger things, not that he's looking for a confidence booster, but there cannot be a bigger confidence booster as a pitcher than I just did that at Coors Field. Which is a nightmare for pitchers, which Nick Pivetta can attest to just from yesterday, from his track record at Coors Field.
Yeah, and the other thing is when you're sitting there that long for that many innings, 10, 15, 20-minute breaks in between each inning that you're going out there, it's easy for you to physically start to tighten up or mentally get distracted or whatever it may be. But he fought all of that, like it's just, I got a job to do. It's to go out, fire strikes, get outs, post zeros, and he did it for 9 innings in one of the toughest places to pitch that the game's ever seen. So kudos to him. It was fantastic. And to your point, should be a huge confidence booster moving forward. And
last thing before I let you go, and hopefully I'll see you at Petco Park. I know you have to go get dolled up for, Padres and the Angels tonight. By the way, Padres 25-14, the 6th best run differential in baseball at plus 48. Angels are 16-23 with a minus 65 run differential. How's that possible? But what's the big advantage of the Padres going to most likely possibly a 6-man rotation when Darvish does return?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the good news is you have 6 pitchers that you actually want to have pitch, right? Because there's a lot of organizations that don't have 3 guys that they want to see on a consistent basis. But the Padres are doing really well with that. Guys have stepped up. Stephen Kolek is the latest example of that. And obviously, anytime you can get Darvish back, I mean, this guy is such an amazing presence. He's great working with his teammates. I mean, aside from what he does on the mound, it's what he adds to all the guys around him. You ever watch the games and see him in the dugout? He's always talking grips with somebody and talking about he's fantastic with that, with being a part of the game, understands the game, and wants to be there for his teammates and stuff too. So he'll have a great presence to be back. And to your point, 6-man rotation allows everybody to have a little bit extra rest. Important now, even more important at the end of the season, right? And hopefully taking some of the pressure off of these guys so that when you do get towards the end and you do have some clutch games that you have to win, hopefully those guys have a little bit more bullets in the tank because of not having to put so much pressure on him in the early part of the season.
Bob Scanlan, you're the man. Thank you for doing this. I know it was a long, exhausting road trip. I'm sure that when you came back, your wife had a ton of honeydews for you to attend to, which you need to get to as well. I'm going to go ahead and battle over this. I want answers at Petco Park. When I see you, I want to know, how do you do it? How do you remain flawless in every possible situation? I look forward to seeing you later tonight. Petco Park.
I'm going to have to take some lessons from you, Marty, because you got to go on. And by the way, congratulations on the success of Marty TV. I'm super proud of you. Like Jake was saying, the amount of work that you put in, your dedication, and it's every single day you're there, you're putting in the work and getting the results. So congratulations to you. Well deserved. I
appreciate you, Bob. You're the best. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you later on tonight at Petco Park.
That's good. Thanks, Marty.
All right, thanks. That was Bob Scanlan. I love this guy, Padres analyst, joining me today after a very long, successful road trip. This should be fun back at home at Petco Park. It almost feels like a second opening day, right? Because Jackson Merrill is back and Jake Cronenberg is back. And Luis Arias, he came back in that last homestand, but the Padres, I know we call it the Core 6. It's really the Core 4, but the Padres are back. This should be a lot of fun. Michael King tonight versus the Angels. Hopefully some good news, Dylan Cease, tomorrow. Again, I want to thank all of you guys. I don't take it for granted. Your support means all the world to me. 17,000 people have subscribed to Marty Time TV, and I am so appreciative. I'm also very appreciative to my sponsor, the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Tomorrow is Tuesday. We'll be joined by AJ Cassavell, my buddy in the press box. So if you have any questions for AJ Cassavell, yes, I see the questions about Wandy Peralta from Edgar P. Why can't Ruben work some of that magic with Wandy Peralta? I'm sure we're going to find out. I'm sure we'll ask Mike Schultz some of those questions later on tonight. So thank you all for watching me. I really appreciate it. Have a great Monday. A lot going on this week. The NFL schedule release, very exciting. The NBA, the lottery draft. So all exciting stuff. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys then. Have a great evening and be well.
Dylan, come here real quick. Come here. Hold on. If somebody said that we're getting our Avengers back by the injuries that are coming back, who would you compare Arias, Jason Hayward, and Jackson Merrill to in terms of an Avenger?
I've never really watched Avengers. To be honest
not a
with you.
nerd. He's a nerd in other ways.
I do play RuneScape sometimes. That's a little nerdy. And disc golf.
But you don't know.
I mean, I think it was just, we felt lonely out there. We missed our guys. And, we missed them in the clubhouse. They were gone for a whole week, and we just felt empty.